That's a good ball for Pittodrie. Now Aberdeen with McGee making the break and Hewitt waiting in the middle. Yes!
It's the final home game of season 2024-2025. It's just about a sellout for the visit of Celtic, just 10 days away from our Scottish Cup final against them. Kick-off at Pittodrie is at 8 o'clock. Rangers host Dundee United. And more importantly, St Mirren host Hibs. We need favours, but more importantly, we have to take care of our business and we have to do it so much better than what we did on Sunday. Hi everybody, a very warm welcome to Ali Beg ABTV this Tuesday night ahead of our game against Celtic tomorrow at Pittodrie. Quite interestingly, in the press conference today given by Brendan Rodgers, he has said that he will make changes to his side for tomorrow evening's game. So, come, 7 o'clock tomorrow night, it will be very interesting to see the team that he picks. More importantly, it's going to be more interesting to see the team that Jimmy picks after Sunday's utter nonsense against Rangers, particularly in that second half. How many of you have calmed down? I'm getting there, I have to admit. Lots and lots and lots of comments about last night's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. The viewing figures have been absolutely fantastic. And I think it's safe to say that I would say that 95% of you were absolutely raging. I have seen some really interesting posts on the internet over the past few days on fans forums about where we are currently. And there was a particularly good one on the Dandy Dons website from a chap who basically said that what we have to remember is that nothing's going to change overnight. That Jimmy is going to need time to be able to find his team. And that while he does that, we're going to have to go through stages where he's going to be bringing players in and they might not work. And that we're going to have stutters along the way. And as painful as it is, and as frustrating as it is, but let's all be honest, what he did say, and he wanted to reiterate this point, was that at the beginning of the season, with only 2 games left domestically, still with a chance of third, having played in a League Cup semi-final, and facing a Scottish Cup final, we all would have absolutely jumped at that chance. And he's absolutely right, and I have to say. It got lots and lots of comments about how versed the comment was, how well thought out the comment was, and I absolutely tip my hat to the chap. I'm really sorry, I can't remember his name. That's why I've not name checked him. But it was a very, very good post. And I have to say, I thought he was absolutely right. But I still think that we as fans are allowed to be as angry as we were after Sunday, considering a heavy defeat, the manner of the defeat, the way we capitulated against what is a very average Rangers side, and it should basically never happen again. So we'll hear from the manager. Got a snippet from his press conference earlier today, which I'll bring to you in just a moment. Going to predict the team though to start with, and tell me what you think, because this is not the team that I personally want. This is the team that I think he will pick. So I'm going to try and second guess the manager tomorrow. He'll obviously stick with Dimitar in goal, who kept it down from being a cricket scorer on Sunday, I thought. Where I think he'll make changes is I think that Alexander Jensen will come back in. I think Christos will keep his place because I think he needs match fitness very much in thought ahead of Dundee United at the weekend and then the cup final. With Mats and the skipper at left back, I think he's going to bring in Ante to firm up our midfield to allow Leighton to play in a more deeper role and be more effective. This is where I think the changes will be. I think he's going to start with Jamie. I'm not a big fan of it, but I think he will. I think Dante will continue in that role. Toppy over on the right. And I still think that Kevin Nisbet needs a place up front. So that's the team that I think he will pick tomorrow. Don't forget that ABTV is brought to you by Saltire Energy, the market leader in drilling equipment rental. But not just that, they offer a wide range of services to the oil and gas industries, with offices based in Aberdeen, the Middle East and Southeast Asia. Here are your match stats, and unfortunately they make for dreadful reading. Aberdeen are winless in their last 29 meetings with Celtic in all competitions. 29. Kevin Nisbet is Aberdeen's top scorer at home in the league this season, having scored 7 times. Pape has scored 6. Aberdeen have only failed to score at home once this season, which ironically was against Celtic when we got beat 1-0. Aberdeen have won their final home league games. What does that say? In 4 of the last 6 seasons, including both of the last 2 seasons. Steve McLean is the man in charge. On VAR is John Beaton. Winless in 29. Whoa, dearie me. So, what should we expect tomorrow? Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open it to the floor to start with, to see what you think is going to happen tomorrow. And we'll start with Ian Barron, who said, "Hi Ali, dreading the game tomorrow night. If we don't turn up, it will be horrific, but I'm trying to keep the faith." Gordon Keith Ritchie has wished you all a good evening. He said, "It's going to be difficult. We need to defend better than Sunday and take our chances if we are to beat Celtic." Colin Gale says, "I think for the first time in my life, I'm going to tune in at 10 o'clock and find out whether I'm happy or sad." Gavin Wilson is wishing you a good evening. He said, "Please just let's give a good account of ourselves, especially since it's the last game at Pittodrie. Give the fans some hope." Graham Gibbs says, "Lots of anger amongst the Aberdeen support, even amongst the more balanced fans. Would be really good if players just turned up in the next 3 games and played with some pride." Graham Gibbs just reiterating the point that I mentioned earlier about Celtic resting players for tomorrow. But it says it gives them the fear. Ryan Ellington is on. Hi, Ryan. He's hoping for a better result and performance tomorrow night. Richard McMillan is on. Can't wait. Players have something to prove to themselves because it's not good enough. Come on, you Reds, he says. M said, "We need a strong performance tomorrow night, regardless of what team Brendan puts out. You can only play the opposition that's put in front of you. Let's see some passion and some drive to win." Passion. Good word. Let's have some passion. Because that has clearly been missing. Barry Cool is here. How are we doing, Barry? Can't say I'm looking forward to tomorrow's game, he says. Simon Roy says, "See Shinnie talking in papers. There needs to be more talking on the pitch." Yep. David Swinton said, "Let's be positive. If we better the Hibs result tomorrow, we can still be third and still a final to play for. I would not swap Yimmy for any other manager." Oh, I agree with that, 100%. Paul Donaldson is wishing you a good evening. "We've got to treat this as a dress rehearsal for the cup final and want to see 100% from every player." It's an audition for the cup final, isn't it? Let's be honest. Neil's on, wishing you a good evening. Graham Gibbs says, "With both managers resting players, I don't think this game will be a rehearsal for the final. Please avoid a humiliating defeat." I don't think he's going to rest players though, Graham. I think he's going to try and put out the strongest team that he thinks is capable of winning this game tomorrow. Because we keep reiterating the point, and I'm starting to wonder if the point is actually registering with the players. You've still got a chance to go third. I know that we need to rely on other results to go our way, But if we take care of our own business, then hopefully we get a wee favour along the way. Simon Roy says, I'd like to see JT change things formation tomorrow, maybe 4-4-2, so we can at least get some shots on goal. Midfield will be key tomorrow, and we need strong players there. Clarkson doesn't cut it. David Horn is here, wishing you a good evening. Neil's asking if the Aussie player has signed yet. He hasn't yet, mate. No official word from the club. Fraser Gunn is here. Team selection will be interesting on the back of Sunday's performance. Barry, maybe you know something I don't. From what we can understand, according, as we mentioned yesterday, according to reports in Australia, is that the deal has been done. It's a 4-year deal. It's about 400,000 euros, give or take, something like that is the fee. But nothing official from the club. Roddy Keenan is here, wishing you all a good evening. Hi, as well as Angela. Hi, Angela. Hope you're all good. I can't lie. I'm absolutely dreading it, she says. Johnny Wilson says, what's to say, Ali? Struggling to get excited for the last 3 games. We look spineless all over the park. Any European spot will do me now, but can actually see us finishing 6th. Robin the Bold said, the fans will give the players a chance, but if they are 2-0 down at half-time, expect plenty of booing. Hugh Barnes is on. Good evening, he says. Massive night tomorrow for JT. He needs to start showing his true colours. Stop having the fullbacks high for starters. Got caught out a couple of times on Sunday with that, didn't we? They just simply played around us. Kenneth McPherson is on, saying hello. Neil Strachan is very confident that we will beat Celtic either 2-1 or 3-1 tomorrow. Bas Strachan is wishing you a good evening. Final home game, so let's go out with at least a point and not disappointment. Mark Smith says, look, if we can defend, we will win. If we can't defend, we will win nothing. I'm really worried about how many goals we ship in the 2 games against Celtic. John Grant is here. Good evening, guys. He says, simply have to play better and not give away cheap goals. And take our chances. Oh, dear God, please. Alexander Wallace says, it's all about who starts tomorrow, but what will the team's attitude be? We need it to be right from the start. Scott Robertson says, can't see us doing anything against Celtic, regardless of who they put out. Our lads looked shattered physically and mentally. That's actually not a bad point. Mentally, they looked shattered, didn't they? Mark Smith says, Tallinn would probably be better missing out on Europe, as our squad can't cope with both League and Europe. But I can't understand how a coach can't organise a defence. Right, we shall come back to your comments. In the meantime, let's get the thoughts of the manager who spoke earlier today at the press conference. He still thinks we're in it.
The way we see things like we try to be better in the future, but also now. And now we're going to play against the champions at home. And we have a strong belief what we can do. And it's one of the best tests you can have. So the hunger and the desire inside the squad is really high, and then we have to always try to get better performance, evolve as a player, as a team, and have the strong belief. Now we play at home at Pittodrie. We know we are really good at Pittodrie. We know our supporters are there, and we're gonna try to create something strong together to get the points. So performance-wise, I think it's gonna be really strong tomorrow. We have a really good short days after Rangers game, but there has been a lot of good energy and focus on the right things. There was disappointment, we leave behind, and then we try to move on and grow as a team.
Thank you, Jimmy. All eyes are on him tomorrow night to make sure he gets it right. Let's remind you that ABTV is also brought to you by Craig International, where the future of global procurement is very much at the forefront of their business strategy. They have 10 offices strategically placed around the world to serve all corners of the globe. Procurement is very much safe in their hands. They have offices in the Middle East to serve Qatar and Dubai. They also have offices out in Australia, where business is great, in Singapore, in America, in Canada, on the European continent, and also back home in Aberdeen. If you are going to the game tomorrow night, this is your bumper Red Matchday programme. The cost of a mere £4, and it's a bumper edition to basically say a fond farewell to the fans for all their support this season. Lots and lots to read, lots of interesting thoughts inside there, as always. My thanks to Dolly Digital for providing the front cover and the graphic for this picture. As always, superbly edited by Malcolm Panton. Right. Wait 1 second. Let me get rid of that. Hello. Right, let's get back. Angela Hamilton says, as frustrating as it is, look where we were last season compared to now. Scott McLean says, I don't accept this stance of we have to wait. He has no plan B in games. He used to make subs and change tactics at half time during our winning run. Where has that gone? Teams have sussed us. Lee Taylor said, I spoke to Jack McKenzie at the Play of the Year regarding the Cup final. He says, I think we'll shock a few people. Well, Jack, why can't we put in a game against St Mirren, Hibs or Rangers? Gavin Wilson said, the issue is that players' performance is unacceptable. No excuses. Play your best and go down having done your all. Scott Robertson said, I'm starting to get wary of Yimmy's after-match waffle. It's funny how he can see all what went wrong after the match, but unable to get his message to the players during the game. But he still wants him to succeed. Stuart Cleavy says, come on, Dandies, let's finish our season at home with a win. It's what all us Dandies deserve. Come on, Yimmy, get the tactics and selection correct for who we're playing against. Hugh Burns is hoping for no Palaversa tomorrow. Palaversa? No, sorry, I beg your pardon. Hopefully no Polvara tomorrow. Neil Sinclair is here, wishing you a good evening. Paul Donaldson said, agree on Tobas. He looked a bit shaky at Ibrox, but I think that was just lack of minutes recently, so he needs to get some minutes in. Simon Roy is asking, Jack McKenzie not able to play, or is he injured? I just don't think the manager wants him in the team. I've got to be brutally honest with you. Hugh Burns has said, I'd play Alfie if he has recovered from his illness. Yeah. I can see that, mate. I can see that. Cameron Young says, fit like Ali, an absolute massive match tomorrow night against the Celts. Yimmy needs to change the team around tomorrow and not go with the same team as Sunday. Hopefully United do us a favour. Gavin Wilson says, in regards to tactics, we've become too predictable and played into Celtic and Rangers' hands. Neil Sinclair says, fingers crossed for a good showing. I'd really like a win, but I'd settle for a good game right up in their faces and give them a run for their money. Oh, how many times do we say it, guys? Just lay a frigging glove on them. Cameron Young is predicting a 2-0 win for the Dons. Neil Strachan has said, I would play Shady Moore instead of McGrath. Richard Wilkinson is here. How are we doing, Richard? Good to hear from you, fella. We're in such a poor state right now. Saw the stats saying that if we lose tomorrow, Yimmy has the same league stats as Robson. Not a good look. That's interesting. Never saw that, mate. Wayne Matthews said, think you're right with the team. Wouldn't have McGrath near the team. Anyone leaving shouldn't be near that side. Mate, I agree. And I thought he was completely anonymous on Sunday. But I've just got a feeling the manager will pick him tomorrow. I don't want it, but I think he will. Banksy says, I wouldn't be surprised if we win against a much changed Celtic team, giving us hope for the final. We'll then struggle against the Dabs and get absolutely smoked in the final. Graham Gibbs says, Ali, in his press conference, Talene talks about being mindful of a number of games played and players coming back from injury usually means changes coming. Yep, agree, mate. Interesting thought from Barry Cole. I've sometimes wondered about this. I sometimes wonder. Let me read his comment, and then I will comment. So Barry said, super fans get to go to Cormac and tell the players what it's like to support this club. As in, do you mean as in Cormac Park, Barry? As in not go to the chairman, but go to Cormac Park and tell the players what it's like to support this club and how all of us would have loved to have pulled on the Dons shirt. They need to understand. Do you know, I have sometimes wondered about that. Whether any football manager would have the kahunas to do that, to allow one or two fans into the dressing room at the training ground after a match day and allow them, as long as they are not aggressive, and let them have their say in front of the players. I wonder. Personally, I can't ever see it happening, but I wonder if it would work. Gav Robertson said, Tobos in the bin until next season, please. Alfie a better player to play in the final. Hopefully Tobos can adopt to Scottish football in time. Graham Strachan says, we the fans always give 100% and always turn up home and away. It's time that you lot showed up and actually gave us 100% back. And shoot, for God's sake, respect the fans and give us the effort we deserve. Couldn't agree more. Colin Gale says, I would not be too hard on Tobas after being out for so long. He was just a bit rusty. Do you know, I agree with that. I do agree with that as well. Just one final reminder of our sponsors here on ABTV. Delighted to announce a new sponsorship deal with Quipco International, a manufacturing and repair service company servicing the oil and gas industry. They have their headquarters based in Abu Dhabi, and they're perfectly placed to offer a number of services and products to the Middle East and beyond. So don't forget, if you've enjoyed tonight's show, give us a wee like, please. Thanks for all your comments, as always. And I keep banging the drum, but please consider subscribing to the channel. The percentage of viewers to subscribers is actually, again, quite high. It seems to be drifting all the time. At the moment, we're at 82% of people who watch the show don't subscribe. So all I'm asking, if you wouldn't mind, is just press the old subscribe button. It's not going to cost you a penny. It just means you're following, very much like on Facebook or on X or on Instagram, and you just get notifications when shows go live and all that kind of stuff. Right. Last few comments, and then we shall call it a night. Gary Gibson says, a lot of hope and a lot of luck, and you just never know. Come on, boys, get a top shift in. Alexander Wallace has said, have said this before, but still believe we do not have enough 90-minute players in our team. That's why we never see a game out. Graham Strachan says, they let the fans in the dressing rooms in Italy. I think it would be a good thing to wake up the players before the final. That's right. They let the ultras in, don't they? Oh, I've seen that. I'm not sure I'd want to be a player in that situation. Oh my God. They're different gravy, those ultras, aren't they? Scary, scary bandits. John Grant says, I hope we sort out the straight ball through the middle of the defence. And when we have an attack, we don't slow down the move and turn back on ourselves. Too guilty of that. Far too guilty. Gareth Hay says, the knives for Yimmy are really premature. We were in pretty dire straits before him, and then the run he went on raised expectations. Don't buy the argument he's the same record as Robbo. We are top 6. Graham Strachan says, can't see how we can say, as in the manager, that there's hunger and desire. We haven't had hunger or desire since November. Neil Sinclair's predicting 2-0 to the Dons. Sampdoria and Juve both do in terms of letting fans in. Whoa. I tell you what, given half a chance, I would like to have sat on that bus on the way home after Sunday. Oh, dearie, dearie me. I would have threatened them with a rendition of More to This World live. Gareth A is saying no one will want to get injured with this cup final coming up. Completely agree, mate. Right, guys, I'm going to call it a night. So, when are we back? Right, we're back on Thursday for the review show. Unfortunately, Andrew Budge can't be with us because he's working on this really important project for work. So he just doesn't have time, unfortunately, to do any analysis with us. But we'll do our very best to bring you what we can on Thursday night. We'll be back on Friday for the preview show ahead of our final game against Dundee United. And so it's going to be a busy few days here on ABTV. So, as we always say at the close of play on the preview show, is the very best of luck to the lads tomorrow night. You've got an awful lot of making up to do. A lot. You need to show us that you give a damn. You need to show us that you've got heart, that you've got desire, that you've got passion, that you want to finish third, and that you want to take your place in the starting 11 for the cup final. You have got to show us that. All of it. Because at the moment, there's a very high percentage who doubt you. And what I would like nothing more is for you to ram my anger from yesterday right back down my throat. I would like to sit here and eat a little bit of humble pie. So I dare you to make me do that. I dare you. Let's see what you're about. Good night.